There's more! I'm back! CGI shit!
I rest my case.
It was fucking horrible!
Okay, hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to another opening night. I'm here with Honey Bear. How are you? You have not been on one of these in a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We decided to see a new movie. I've been doing a lot of old films lately. I mean, I've seen one or two good movies over the summer. We've seen a lot. Like, a lot of the classics and stuff, but this time around, we're gonna kind of mix it with, like, the old and the new, because we're kind of doing a double feature here, because it's my first time fully watching this. That being, of course, the new Beetlejuice movie out. Beetlejuice. And with that, I'm also going to be briefly discussing the first one, because I saw it for the first time. Honey Bear showed it to me, we watched it, and, you go first. What is your overall history with Beetlejuice?
Grew up watching the original one. It's became, like, a cult classic. And it just holds a special place in my heart. If you watch the first one, growing up, it's just so iconic.
Was it the first thing you ever saw Tim Burton-wise?
Yeah, actually.
Really?
The first Tim Burton movie.
For me, it was Batman. It was always Batman, but, you know, I've always been, like, Edward Scissorhands, Corpse Bride, Nightmare Before Christmas, even though technically he didn't direct that, he just created it. But, when it comes, it was the same thing with, like, James and the Giant Peach. You know he was involved in that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because all the stop motion is the same people who did Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
That's why it looks so similar. So Tim Burton had a hand in that.
Which came first, Edward or Scissorhands or Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice came first.
Oh, okay.
Edward Scissorhands was the project he did in between Batman and Batman Returns. Yeah. So hence why Batman Returns has that Edward Scissorhands look to it.
And when Winona Ryder was older in Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, and so I guess with the first one, watching it for the first time, I mean, I grew up mostly with the cartoon that was on Saturday mornings, and also the attraction at Universal Studios Florida. They took it out because they took that and Earthquake out to make way for that Fast and Furious ride, which sucks. It's so bad, but that's how I grew up with Beetlejuice. So I've never seen fully the first one. I've tried so many times to get through it, and for some reason I never got through it, but watching it for the first time literally a couple of days ago before the new movie, I can happily say I really appreciate it. It was a very funny film. I think it is absolutely hilarious. One of the funnier Tim Burton movies. Keaton's great. He's basically Gothic Genie, essentially.
Yeah, you can't even tell it's Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe it's him.
I couldn't believe that Alec Baldwin was in this movie. I was like, wow, I didn't even know he was in this. But everybody involved, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, Gina Davis, they're all great in the first one. And the stop motion's great. I've actually seen a lot of the props in this movie. There was a Tim Burton exhibit at TIFF where they showed, like, a lot of the stuff. So I saw, like, the puppet snake they used, and that was really cool. They had a lot of puppets for those movies. But with the movie, the first one being so successful, there was a cartoon show, yes. There was a show at Universal, but there was always talk for over 30 years, Beetlejuice 2, are we getting it, are we not? Tim did other projects, never really, he hasn't actually done a sequel since Batman Returns. And that was 30 years ago. This is the first time he's doing a sequel to something of his older work. Like, he didn't do the second Alice in Wonderland movie, which I would argue is probably the last Tim Burton movie I really saw. Because after that is when he kind of fell out for me. I like Sweeney Todd. That was good.
Good.
So he hasn't really directed, like, the last movie he did was Dumbo, and that really sucked. That was really horrible. As a fan of the original Dumbo by Walt Disney, this was a travesty, and especially, what a waste of Tim Burton. So his career's kind of fallen off, but with Netflix and Wednesday, the Addams Family reboot, which he was involved in, he sort of bounced back. So now we have the sequel to Beetlejuice. I guess it's best to go back to your roots in this case to get your career going. And with Beetlejuice, especially after fresh off watching the first one, I can easily say, as everybody's pointed out, this is a really good sequel. Beetlejuice, I can actually say is amazing. And it's actually, I would say, even funnier than the first one.
But there's so much, like, controversy behind it because some of the old actors are not there, like Alec Baldwin and Lydia's dad.
Yeah, they did state in the movie very briefly that they kind of just flew off.
Well, they said they didn't want Alec Baldwin to come back because he didn't want any more ghosts added to the movie.
Yeah, and then I get it. But on top of that, I think it's also a matter, like, there are a couple actors. I mean, Gina Davis, we have no idea. Alec Baldwin, clearly because of the court issues that just got resolved. And then we have one other actor, which I can't even remember his name, but he was the dad in the first one, the ginger dad. And we know, without saying too much, why he's not in this. But I will say, there's a minor spoilers in this movie, by the way. They have a great way of killing off that character, and I was laughing my ass off. I mean, first of all, you can't get the actor, so the character is there. They just have a clever way of showing him without showing his ugly ass face, to be honest, so that was a plus. But then on top of that, basically, I'll just say this without spoiling much, he's there, but he kind of looks like Britney Spears in that episode of South Park where she shot herself. And the whole time you just hear, like, that's his character. But on top of that, the way they do his demise is all in stop motion. And that's the kind of shit I love. And the way they did it, I'll admit, it looked like a brisk, you remember those stop motion commercials for Brisk iced tea that were all done in stop motion? I think Eminem did a few or something like that. I think they were done by, it was actually a Canadian company, Coffee Crisp Studios, who did shows The Wrong Coast and Celebrity Deathmatch and stuff, and they did stuff for that Eminem company, and they did those Brisk commercials, I think. And it kind of looks like that, and I thought, okay, did they do it? I don't think so, but if they did, kudos, it wouldn't surprise me, because Beetlejuice does have a hand in things here in Canada because of the cartoon show. But to the point, it was very creative. So they do have ways of writing around characters that aren't there from the first one, but for those who come back, they're still great. Winona Ryder is still fantastic in this. She's, you see a lot of her character having PTSD and so on. Catherine O'Hara's hilarious in this. And then, let's talk about Michael Keaton. You first. You're all about the characters and Keaton in this.
I mean, he is like in the second sequel. He is very consistent in like keeping to like the integrity of the first like Beetlejuice. Like it's seamless. You don't feel any difference. You feel like the character hasn't aged. He still has. He never left. Yeah, like he never left.
It's the same thing with Batman. Like, you say what you will about The Flash, but Keaton was the best part about that movie because, at 70-something, he can still put on the cape and cowl and be like, yeah, that's Batman. He's still being Batman, so he's still being Beetlejuice.
Yeah, you feel like he just, like, you don't feel like it was lackluster. Like, the character was, like, he kept the integrity of the character.
Do you think he was funnier in this than he was in the first one?
Yeah, a lot more funnier. Because, like, now I grew up watching it when I was younger, but now that I'm at the age where I'm able to understand the jokes, it's funnier. It
is a lot funnier. There are definitely callbacks to the first one. We do see the sandworms again, which I remember, I thought it was going to be stop motion, but then I actually looked it up. Apparently it was CGI, but they made it intentionally look like stop motion, so they can do that now, which I'm kind of mixed on because that does take away from the hard work animators actually do on sequences like that. So for me, I was a little bummed about that because it's like, come on, guys, like you can't get actual stop motion people and convert it some CG over it.
Because they did have the sandworm, and I didn't like how they it should have been kept it consistent with the old one they had, but you could tell it was heavily CGI.
It's like advanced stop motion.
I don't like it.
Because the thing is, the camera's locked. That's the problem with stop motion. You can't really move the camera. I mean, you can now with new movies, but to stay consistent, they had to lock down the camera. I will say, when they go into the desert, the Dune desert, I love how the fact that when they get there, you're like, oh, Well, at least we don't look like we're on blue screen anymore, because you look at the first one, and
Yeah.
I wish they could have kept that a little bit of that blue screen look to it, and faked it a little bit, because I think that's one of the charms of the first ones, is that you know the effects are kind of hokey, because that's Tim Burton's style. And I will say this is the first movie, kind of, again, not necessarily like other sequels that they do the same thing, but you can tell it's the same world with a much bigger budget, and maybe that's sort of a downgrade, is that having a bigger budget doesn't mean your movie's going to be better.
Yeah.
So...
And what also I think made this movie is like the twist. Like, I think if it didn't have that twist, you wouldn't have liked it as much, I think.
It's interesting because, like, not only is there a good twist here that I liked, but on top of that, it does feel like Batman Returns to a degree in terms of, I'll say one flaw I have, I think there's too many villains in this.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if we could spoil it.
I mean, we could talk about, like, we'll talk about the main show, we won't talk about the twist, but there is a main villain that is all over the advertisements, and...
I feel like that person didn't need to be there.
It kind of is kind of pointless. I guess it's to give the movie some extra weight, and also I think it's a way to kind of explain... What I do like, something we can talk about this movie that I really liked, was they showed the origins of Beetlejuice, how he what used to be when he was human, and it's very much in the style of a Universal Studios classic monster movie, like mostly Frankenstein, where they're digging up the corpses and the fake fog set, and also it's like a Coffin Joe movie. I don't know if you ever heard of Coffin Joe. They're these foreign films from, like, the 60s, and they were, like, these really dark, demented films made by, like, independent people, and, like, so that hence the subtitles. So, because they were foreign films. Anyway. Can
I just say the soundtrack for this movie with the Bee Gees, I don't know what song that is, I have to find it, but it's, like, it's superb.
I kind of like that. I was like, oh, wow. And then that's the one with surprise cameo, Danny DeVito. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, but, like, the soundtrack is just perfect, fits the scene when it's used.
It's cool to see Danny Elfman back, of course, doing it. And then also they bring back the Deo song, and it's used for the funeral, which I think is brilliant. Mm-hmm. It was great use in the trailers. I actually thought that was really good. And then also at the end when they play, I can't remember the original song, but I do know, all I know is the Weird Al Yankovic song of Jurassic Park, so I wasn't singing the original song, I was singing Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what the original song's called, but that whole sequence was great, and and with, we have all the original characters, but then we have new characters in this, and... who's Wednesday? What's the name of the actress? Jenna Ortega.
She was in Miller's Girl.
She's also in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, the animated series. She voices one of the characters. She didn't come back for Chaos Theory because she's a star now.
If Tim Burton's going to do any other movies in the future, she's going to be starring in it. She's the new, like, his muse, his new Helen.
Is it weird that I kind of want to see him do an Addams Family movie set in the Wednesdayverse and make it in theaters?
Probably. It's probably going to happen.
Who was Gomez in the new show? It wasn't Oscar Isaacs, was it? No, because he was in the animated stuff.
I don't know what his name is.
I know Zeta Jones was Morticia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But with, so we have this new villain who's essentially Beetlejuice's ex-wife who killed him and so on. So, yeah, it's very much like a Coffin Joe movie. I did like how they played to that, like, old school look. And it's really cool to see this movie come out in September, too, because I guess people are now kind of counting September as part of the Halloween season. So we're getting a lot of movies and Halloween stores are opening up. I do like how we get an extended, like, 2 months of this shit.
Yeah.
It's great. So, there's that about... But, can I talk about... Okay, my favorite character in the movie is fucking Bob.
He's so cute.
Bob is adorable, and... I love Bob. I won't say what it is, but there's something about whenever Tim Burton creates a character named Bob. He's done this twice now. Why is Bob the best character? Like, in Tim Burton's Batman, you remember who Bob was in that? He was the Joker's right-hand man.
Oh.
Yeah, and his name was Bob. It's like, you. He's the one who's like, you. I'm a number one guy. That guy with the shades.
Oh, yeah.
That's Bob. For some reason, Tim Burton likes the name Bob on Henchmen.
Such an easy name.
But Bob is adorable, and it's all practical. That's what I love. The practical effects here are fantastic. Like, real sets, real animatronic characters.
My only thing is with like how they made up Michael Keaton, I feel like they should have went a little bit more harder, because if you compared it to, like, the first movie, I feel like the makeup should have been a little bit more just as intense as the first. It was a little sloppy, I think.
I think the makeup actually works. I mean, I can see it to some degree. I think it's mostly in, like, the head, like, the wig and the neck. You can kind of see some spotches of the makeup.
And the suit is not, like, as... It needs to be a little fitted, right?
I mean, it feels like it's a little tightened. It's almost like, because, again, he's only wearing one outfit. He's probably grown out of it. So I like how, in a way, the suit looks... The whole thing looks a little bit more like it's been worn out for 30 years. I think was the idea, is that Beetlejuice has just been doing this shtick for 30 years. And he's just got nothing else to wear, even though he's kind of a genie character. He can switch out at any time.
Are we allowed to talk about spoilers?
We have to talk about one other character that I loved is Willem Dafoe in this, who's like the detective at the police and the underworld.
I think they should have ended up together.
Oh, Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice?
Yeah, Lydia and Beetlejuice. Even Winona Ryder said in the interview that she kind of hoped in her way that they ended up together.
Well, like, even in the cartoon, you know, like, they do kind of establish them as a team throughout those, and then you should rewatch the cartoon. The cartoon actually kind of gets a little better.
Well, there's, like, I think they complement each other so well, but this is me just, like, shipping. I
mean, and then we also have, we might as well talk about spoilers. Baby Juice is the most adorable thing, because it kind of reminded me of the baby from Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. Remember the zombie baby? It kind of reminded me of that, and I love that shit. And, like, Beetlejuice, like, literally when it's born, just kicks the damn baby. It's so dementedly funny. And then you have the just minor bit with the ending. There's a little bit of a, you know, here's what happens after. But then it turns out it's all a dream, and, like, Jenna Ortega gives birth to Baby Juice, and the whole time you're like, what the fuck?
Did we miss something?
Did we miss it? And then, it's all a dream. And I do like how they kind of set up that Beetlejuice never really dies. He's just sent back to the underworld. And I don't know why, I know we're finally getting a sequel 30 years later, but I would say, listen, if this is successful, you might as well wrap it up and make a trilogy and make the third one and call it Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I think that they're probably they kind of are saying, we'll do another one, and we won't wait 30 years this time to make a sequel.
Chop, chop, because Michael Keaton's not getting any younger.
I mean, I think there's also, like, been rumors or hints that, like, they've been wanting, they said, you know, because Tim Burton's making a comeback, Keaton's making a comeback, it's like, fuck it, make a third Batman. Make a third Batman movie. I would like to, you know, and I don't know why, Johnny Depp is the Riddler, or maybe that actor who's, like, the fiancé? Put him in it. Like, he would be like, I always saw, like, a little Phantom of the Opera, the fiancé that was going to marry Winona Ryder.
Oh, Justin Theroux.
Yeah, Justin Theroux. Put him somewhere in that. I don't know, Willem Dafoe would be great in a Tim Burton Batman movie.
Yeah, you know, Justin Theroux dated Jennifer Aniston from Friends. I'm sorry, they got married and then they got divorced. But he's really, like, coming up now. He's a really good actor.
He's really funny in that. Like, I mean, he's kind of corny, but at the end when, like, they kind of figure out what he's all about, it's actually, like, I was kind of laughing, like, alright, that's cute.
The dance sequence is so funny. It was kind of a nod to Wednesday because she did that iconic dance in Wednesday. So it was cool.
Yes, and also I do like how we explore more of the afterlife in this one. Which I always said with, like, the first one, it feels like a prototype to, like, what I thought was Tim Burton's better version of the afterlife with Corpse Bride. Which was one of my favorite Tim Burton movies, and that one sort of up the ante on the after. I like to think that maybe they share all the same universe. Like, anytime you go to the Netherworld, it's all part of the So, oh man, if they could get some way in Beetlejuice, if they can find a way to get Corpse Bride and all the guys from there in the same universe, I'd be like, yes! The Underworld transitions space and time, because that movie takes place in, like, a Victorian era, whereas this is the modern day, so how cool would it be to, like, see, like, all of a sudden, oh my god, there's Victor and Emily there all of a sudden. Get Johnny... Can you imagine if in the third one there's a cameo and it's Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter playing those characters in live action?
Well, I don't know if Helen's gonna work with Tim after they got divorced.
Was it a bad fallout? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
I heard that he did cheat on her.
Ooh.
So, and they haven't worked together since.
Who the fuck outside of her sleeps with Tim? That is the big question.
Well, Tim, ever since he got with the actress that's in this movie, that's why she got casted. He has lost a lot of weight. So now, like, he looks a lot more happy with this new girl.
I do
I
like the character because it's very like Bride of Frankenstein meets Morticia from the Addams Family. It had that vibe where she's like putting herself back. It's a little bit of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas because Sally lost all her limbs and she just sews herself. In this one, she's just stapling her back together.
It was a nice addition, but not necessary. Like, it was such a whole other storyline that.
I'll say this, it feels like this was meant to be two films. Like you have one other villain, which I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to spoil the twist for people. But that was supposed to be this movie. And then the ex-wife might have been the third movie. But I guess because they were thinking, well, we're probably not going to have time, depending on how this does, let's squeeze it all into one. But had this been two movies, shot back-to-back maybe, that would have actually fit more had they done that. But again, I'm okay with this. Like, this is very much in the vein of, this is sort of like, we're in the age of what Sean calls the legacy sequels, which is Top Gun Maverick, Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, like these sequels that, to franchises that are kind of just done, but then they come in and say, hey, we actually can do a proper sequel without just rehashing the first one. We can actually do something that progresses the story 20, 30 years later, and I think it's great. Like, I think this is a good time to do it, and, I mean, again, give me a third Batman with Tim Burton. I would not mind if Warner Brothers puts in extra money for an extra Batman film. Because there is potential for that series to keep going because it ended prematurely due to stupid McDonald's firing Tim Burton. And the whole thing, because it's not enough for kids. Well, Batman never was, you dumb shits. But yeah, so I really like Beetlejuice, and I consider me now a fan of the series. I kind of want to go back. I want to kind of order the DVD of the cartoon and watch the cartoon. Because Tim actually had huge involvement. Despite it being done here in Canada, he had huge involvement with it. I think Tim has always been a fan of Canada. Us Canadians kind of like Tim. Like, anytime he makes a movie, we're like, welcome, Tim! Come on in! P.S. Tim, make a movie here. Get him and Guillermo del Toro make a movie here. Can you imagine those two making a movie together?
Yeah.
Like, imagine the credits from Tim Burton and Guillermo del Toro. You'd be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I had those two minds.
Two of those creative minds coming together would be fantastic. So, I do think it is really cool that the sequels exist. I'm glad we got it. I kind of want a third one. If not, no worries. This is a decent legacy sequel. And as a new fan of Beetlejuice, I mean, I've been as a fan of Beetlejuice, but now I'm a lot more. This is a good, like, 8 out of 10 for me.
8 out of 10?
About an 8 out of 10 for me. It's got some minor problems, but they don't contrast the rest of the film.
I'm picky, so I give it a 6 out of 10.
6!
And I love the old, like, I'm one of those people that compare it to the original. I refuse to, like, if you watch it as just, like, a standalone, maybe an...
Okay, so it's a 7. Because, yeah, it's. I still think the first film is the better one. It's the classic, it's the charm. But it's just nice to have this extra.
Yeah, it's nice that they came out with a sequel.
They came out with a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think they need to release a third one for it to feel complete. Because I feel like it's still, like, not complete yet. You
get the box set as like a tombstone with his suit, and it just says, and it's made out of rubber, it just says the Beetlejuice trilogy.
Yes.
If you could include the cartoon show in there, that'd be great. It's kind of like how they did a later release of Back to the Future, the trilogy, but it came with the cartoon show.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So, I want to say we didn't get the popcorn bucket that they have in the States, but we got this really nice cup that has like the suit and the bugs.
It's made out of like fake leather, faux leather.
Like a rubber. It feels like rubber.
Yeah, like a rubber. And we were sitting behind kids. Like, this movie...
Oh, these kids! Oh, please go ahead.
Poor kids, because, like, some of the... Like, this movie was a little bit more sexually charged than the other one. And these poor kids behind us, I don't even know where their parents were.
I don't think they were even there. I think they all went on a whim on a Friday after school.
These poor kids, like, they were just like, oh my god, ew, ew, ew.
Can I just say this, though? I was kind of listening to their conversations, and they could tell, like, these kids are a little uneducated. And again, it's the first week of school for a lot of these kids, so these kids probably Friday night said, let's go to the movies and see Beetlejuice. And they probably watched, I could tell they watched the first one and Wednesday.
There was a lot of younger, like, younger generation at this movie. I was shocked.
I'm cool with that because a new generation of fans of Beetlejuice, and like literally they were like almost critiquing the film as we were watching it, and I'm like, and the whole time I'm thinking, that's my job, you little shits. But then afterwards, like, most people would say, yo, shut the fuck up, but I was actually okay. I liked their commentary because I could concentrate on it in the film. And then after the movie, I just told these kids, y'all are gonna be sweet film critics in like 5 or 6 years. You guys are gonna rock it on YouTube. So I guess I was encouraging them to become film critics like myself.
They're coming for your job.
They're gonna take your job, but they were okay. Like I'm glad kids are seeing this, and this movie's like not terribly, that adult charged. Like, I mean, the first one was heavily adult charged,
No,
and that was a PG. That was a PG because PG-13 didn't exist.
There was one scene in that movie that was like, yeah, you should cover your kid's eyes, but like here, like what they were talking about and like a few scenes in the newer one is more sexually charged.
Again, they did stick to the PG rule. We missed out because there was so much going on, but whereas the first one it was the few PG movies that dropped the F-bomb, where Beetlejuice is like, nice fucking model! In this one, it's him when he sends a certain person to hell, and we missed it, but apparently he did drop the F-bomb there.
Oh, really?
And it's funny, because this one, the first one's PG, this one's PG-13.
This one, the second one?
This one's PG-13.
Okay, so now it's,
And now it makes sense.
But the kids behind us did not look 13.
Listen, I saw PG-13 movies in theaters at their age. Like, I saw R-rated movies at their age. My parents took me to see, like, Gladiator and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And that was hard R violence and stuff in that one.
My parents took me to see American Pie.
Oh, I saw The Haunting in theaters with Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson, and that one actually kind of scared me, and now I watch it now, I'm like, this is goofy. Why was I scared of this? Oh, I saw a lot of those movies. I watched a lot of that. Like, my parents raised me on good movies. Start them young, I guess, but to the point. Really like this one. Let me know your thoughts about Beetlejuice and the first one in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like the cartoon more? Do you like the show more? What's your favorite Tim Burton movie? And, yeah, I think that's where we're going to end this opening night. Huge thanks to Honey Bear for coming in.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in. Love it. She's my Winona Ryder to my Beetlejuice.
I think we're more Edward Scissorhands and what's the girl's name?
Oh, I don't even remember what her name is. Should we cosplay that?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna now. There's the.
I have to do Jack Skeleton and Sally.
Oh, well, I gotta get. I gotta get. I think I have a way to make that work. I have sort of a technique. I've been thinking about it, but that is probably the goal. Or like Victor and Emily.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good one. But we'll do all the Tim Burton stuff. But yeah, a huge thanks for her coming in. It's always good to have her in on an opening night. And don't forget, support our Patreon. Just telling more, we'll get early access to all of our content, as well as other special features. There's other Patreon charts there. You can go a little higher in there. And also check out her website, Resiliency and Me. It's a great organization that helps kids in low-income housing get, therapy and help if they need be. Her company is amazing, so I will put a link to that down below.
Thank you.
And until the next video, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying,
honk honk.
or no, just be like, it's showtime. and then just like Beetlejuice, shit! Alright, we'll see you guys later. Take it easy.